Peace, everybody. Peace. Love me, fro. Dan. Duma. All right, y'all. Let's start it. Let's pop it. Let's set it off. It's about 7 o'clock. Some people are in here early, so let's be fair and start it early or on time. All right. This was an impromptu class because tomorrow's class is on vampire magic, vampire adept, and a vampire gate. We're going to go deeply into the vampire magic and how to utilize that on your path. But tonight we're going to add a couple more to last week's class, the 7th path of the Sith and the quest for immortality. As you know, on the left-hand path of self-mastery, our quest ultimately is to become immortal. Now, people may say, well, do you mean that in a physical sense? Yes and no. Yes, you should extend your life, your physical life, as long as possible by having a well-balanced diet, eating healthier foods, exercising, doing meditation, yoga, things of that nature. Take care of the body. The body is important, but also the quest for immortality is you become immortal based upon also the legacy you leave behind. What you leave behind will keep you immortal in the minds of the people that exist today or will continue existing long after you perish in a physical form. By your actions, by your works, by things of that nature, you become immortal. This is why we're still speaking about ancient Kemet to this day, and it's 10,000 years or more, and we're still speaking about them today because the works that they left behind are legendary, which keeps them immortal in our minds. So that's what we're going to go into this evening. Let me go into this first part, which is dealing with the 7 paths or the 7 statements of the Sith. The path of the Sith is a path of gaining power through understanding. The gates to wisdom are unlocked with knowledge. We must seek knowledge first in the darkness and then in the light. Never falling to the limits of moral opinion, popular consensus, or worst of all, self-deceit. Okay? We seek knowledge in all the dark places first, then in the light. If you understand that dark aspect of yourself, that darker aspect, some call it the shadow self, the subconscious mind, the unconscious parts of us, the tree of Qliphoth, things of that nature, you will start to understand why the path of darkness is essential first to deal with these aspects that are long buried or hidden within us. Then we start to search in the light for things that complement our growth, our actions, activities, things of that nature. But never fall towards or for anybody's moral opinion of yourself, okay? Or moral opinion of society, moral opinion of your family. Never fall for that, because your path is to master yourself. And to do that, you have to stand on your own thoughts, ideas, beliefs, actions, things of that nature. You cannot allow yourself to be easily persuaded by somebody's moral opinion just because yours is different and doesn't match up with theirs. Popular consensus, society's beliefs and ideas of morality. But most importantly, don't fall for your own self-deceit, because we like to fool ourselves a lot. One of the ways we fool ourselves is by creating a mask of a fake us. Not the real us that really sits there buried a lot of times, but the fake us. The one that we create to exist in society just to get on by, just to deal with that side of ourselves. We create and put on this persona, this mask, as if it's the real us. And 9 times out of 10, we created that persona to exist and survive in society the way it is shaped today. Not by your choice. You were born into this society. It wasn't your choice to be born into the society. You were born into this society from where your family resided at. Now that you're here, this society tends to dictate a lot of the things that you do in your life. So in order, at an early age, we start to figure out ways to survive in a society, what's acceptable and what's not acceptable in this society. So we create this fake us to exist and survive within this society. The problem with that is this fake us can become so overwhelming that we lose our true self within the process. And then comes the work. The hardest part of the work is trying to discover that part of ourselves that we lost. I'm sure if many of y'all go back, even 15 years ago, things that you wanted to accomplish, the way you were maybe 15, 20 years ago, is a lot different than you are today. The things and how you viewed life back then are a lot different than you are today. Even go back further when you were a young child. Your aspirations, your goals were totally demolished many times by your family, by society. Some of y'all wanted to be an astronaut. That was totally demolished because they were like, oh, well, you're black or Latino, whatever the case may be, and that's just not something your people accomplish. So you kind of get derailed at an early age. And then now we look back and the goals we had in our early childhood, I bet you that a lot of us have not fulfilled that or are living that right now. I didn't say all of us. I said a good amount of us have not fulfilled that quest that we started out at an early age. And that's because of how we allow ourselves to be governed by society and other people's opinion of us, or what we felt like we needed to do to adapt, to exist and survive in this society. It's a shame because a large part of us ceases to exist. And then it gets buried, suppressed, repressed, and then here come all the problems that we created because of these circumstances. Number 2 of the 7-fold path of the Sith. Only a fool will lie to himself or herself. For in self-deception is the beginning of one's demise. How can one mark progress while clouding the measure? Let me repeat that one again because that was a strong one. Only a fool will lie to himself or herself, for in self-deception is the beginning of one's demise. How can one mark progress while clouding the measure? You know how myself and Brother Beniti always talk about questioning yourself, taking inventory about yourself? That tends to be some of the hardest work to do because we start to see how we deceived ourselves. Here's an example. Some of us got married, let's say, because we were trying to appease or please our partner and their family. Then we deceive ourselves into thinking, well, I'm going to go through this to prove to myself I'm a good little husband, good little wife. And to be honest, we may totally suck in relationships. Like we're the worst relationship people ever. But because we deceived ourselves, lied to ourselves, and tried to fit into this standard of what a marriage is, what a husband and wife is, what your partner's family wanted of her or him, and all these things, you basically lied to yourself and thus began a demise of your relationship and of yourself. That happened to myself in my first marriage when I was, let's see, and that was like a long time ago, like 20 something years ago, okay? No, 15 years ago, I think. 15, 20. And it was a long time. All right. So, anyways, I basically married her because her family kept pressuring her because her family was old school. And some of y'all may heard these terms from the past from your own family or people. You guys shouldn't be shacking up. We don't believe in you guys shacking up before marriage. So basically, I was shacking up and pressured into marrying her because her family kept putting pressure on her. I didn't want to get married. Truth be told, I was not ready to get married. I did not believe in being pressured to be married by somebody else other than myself. Case in point, I deceived, lied to myself, that relationship, and time went whoop, straight downhill. Okay? So that's just an example how we deceive ourselves. We may deceive ourselves to think we could be the greatest whatever, the greatest rapper ever. And we're going to try to be greater than Rakim and KRS-One. And we deceive ourselves to think our lyrics is just next level. We deceive ourselves to think our flow is just like hypnotic. And in reality, everybody else thinks you purely suck garbage. But we deceive ourselves into thinking I'm the greatest rapper ever. It happens, though. Because I don't know, plenty of people who rap for me and they thought they was just hot shit. They was straight garbage shit. Okay? So let's just be real. Sometimes we deceive ourselves into thinking we're some great thing when we suck at the craft that we're trying to choose. But can we be real with that? All right? Number 3. A true Sith is a master of the self. And as such, knows that responsibility goes to the responsible. A Sith knows that each individual is solely accountable for their actions. We must ever strive to be seen as above reproach. Now, this one's a good one. Y'all hear us say this over and over and over, whether it's on Awakening Universal Minds Talkshow.com, which, as y'all know, is back once again, or on these live lectures on YouTube, or when we do rituals or classes live and in person. The biggest thing that we hear many times is No accountability. People do not want to take accountability or be responsible for their ways or actions. The first thing I would say it's a programming. The first thing we do when something goes wrong in our relationships, friendships, situations, events, jobs, whatever, is point the finger at somebody else. Right away, we point the finger at somebody else. We externalize it. The problem with that is, where's your accountability for your actions, your decisions, your choices within any given moment in time that result or the consequence that came from it? Are you able to take responsibility for everything that happened in your life? You can have been married and divorced. Are you still 10 years later blaming him or her for your divorce? Or are you taking accountability and responsibility for your action? Because that's all you can really be responsible for, is your ways, your actions, your decisions, your choices in your life. Yes, it can have an effect and affect other people, case in point, relationships, but all you can be accountable is for your side of any given interaction. If you're able to take responsibility for that, then you begin a strong process on your path to really mastering yourself, to really being responsible. At this point in my life, I strive every day to blame no one for anything in my life but me. I only blame myself for my current situation in life, okay? Or I take total responsibility for my current situation in life, regardless of what's happening, whether it's something I really enjoy or something that seems to be harmful. I take total responsibility for that. I cannot take responsibility for somebody else's failures, actions, or things of that nature. So if we're not willing to be responsible, we're not really able to respond to a situation, we're not able to take accountability and really stand up as a true person, as a God, as some would say, for the consequences that have resulted from your choices, your decisions, your actions, then what happens is we continue to create a vicious loop, a vicious cycle in our life of repetitive, habitual crap that no matter what you do, will keep repeating itself over and over and over. But if you are able to take responsibility, and taking responsibility, I'm not making it seem like it's just the easiest thing to do, because when you take responsibility, a lot of times comes with a lot of weight. And what I mean by weight is the crushing blow to your delusions that come from taking responsibility. Meaning, I took responsibility for this, so all the shit that I deluded myself all these years is now being crushed, destroyed, and I'm sitting there having to face the reality that, damn, I really caused this situation to go down the way it did. For my part, I did that. That's not an easy task for individuals to really take hold and ownership over their life. It's easier to blame someone. And why I say it's a program is because since we were young, we were programmed to blame something outside of ourselves. Many of us came through Christianity, some of us Islam, things of that nature. There's always a scapegoat. We learn this in religion, the devil. It's always the devil. When everything goes right in our life, God or Allah is blessing me. When things go wrong, it's the devil. And we learn this from an early age. So now look at how we view life. Immediately when something goes wrong in our life, it has to be something external. It can't be something I did. The weight is crushing when you realize, yo, I opened the door for this. So really, in reality, I'm getting just what I deserve because I opened the door for this. If you meet somebody, I've had conversations with some people recently about stuff like this. This one dude tried to tell me, that in the first 3 minutes he can fall in love with somebody. I was like, you a goddamn fool, bro. It literally takes you even like a year to really get to know somebody. To me, it takes me 2, 3, 4, 5 years to really get to know somebody. I don't trust people like that. That's just me. I just don't trust people like that. I done seen life unfold in so many vicious ways. You got to prove to me that you could be trusted. You understand? I may be an associate of yours, but as far as being friends, brothers, things like, nah, not happening. That's just me. That's the way I roll. Everybody dictates how they deal with situations like that in their own life. But you have to understand, you're only able to answer to yourself. And if somebody tries to put you on Front Street for actions because they don't agree with things you've done, that's their issue. That's their problem. Okay? You're only accountable to yourself. Only take responsibility for yourself. A Sith knows that each individual is solely accountable for their actions. We must ever strive to be as above reproach, meaning you strive to walk and stand on your square, always rounding off your actions, squaring off your deeds. That's how you live your life. And then because you've taken responsibility, you're able to govern your life in a way where you got it. You got this now. You understand the laws of nature, the laws of the universe. You understand this, and you now stand able to master those laws and operate above it. Number 4, there is strength and joy. We must not turn. Anyways, something just fell back here. There is strength and joy. One of y'all trying to send some spirits, get my attention or something? Anyways, there is strength and joy. We must not turn away from that which leads to mental, physical, or emotional gratification. Let me repeat that again. There is strength and joy. We must not turn away from that which leads to mental, physical, or emotional gratification. Ask yourself, this is where this inventory statement always comes in. Ask yourself, when you take your inventory, okay, sure, you're discovering your weaknesses and your trifling ways and things of that nature. But are you also discovering things that you may not have been aware of before? For example, things that give you mental gratification, physical or emotional gratification. Are you really taking a deep inventory of yourself, or are you still just half-assing it, half-stepping it? Because it's not just always pulling up the most disgusting parts of ourselves. That has a lot to do with it. But it's also finding out about the things that you weren't really aware that you really enjoyed. Like you really wasn't focused on, damn, I really enjoy doing this. I really enjoy this part of myself. And then that gives you so much joy that you really want to embrace those things within yourself and cultivate it. Sometimes we're not aware of the things that bring us joy and gratification. We're not really aware sometimes because we're so weighed down by the stress of the world. And that leads to anxiety and all these other things that have most of us screwed up physically, high blood pressure, all kinds of stuff, because we're weighed down by the stress of the world. Number 5, strong in the force are those who embrace their passions. What are your passions, y'all? Ask yourself, what is your passions? Some of y'all know off rip. It just comes straight out. Other y'all gonna have to think. For those who have to think about what their passions are, that's sad in a way. And I'm gonna tell you why I mean that. That means you're not really totally focused on your inner self, your inner growth, Because you should know that right away. What brings you passion? What are your passions, y'all? You have to have some kind of passion in life. And if you don't have one, I think people should start trying to discover that part of themselves. What brings them passion? Some may love and are passionate about playing the piano or wanting to learn how to play the piano or the drums or some kind of musical instrument. Others are passionate about learning how to DJ. Others are passionate about traveling the world. What is your passion? Ask yourself this tonight. When you have some time tonight, if you do a ritual tonight, ask yourself, what are my passions? Do I have passions? Am I even aware of my freaking passions? That is a self-discovery in it. That really is self-discovery right there. And when you start to pinpoint those things, you start to give more life to your true self and start getting past the fictitious self we created to survive in society. Find those passions. One of the brothers I know, his passion is translating invocations, specifically dealing with magic from Kemet, translating invocations that are written in English into the meta netta, bringing those tones and frequencies back into the rituals. That's that individual's passion. And he discovered that, and he loves that part of himself, to be able to translate things and create his own rituals by doing that. Some of y'all's passion is herbs. One of my passions is working with herbs. This is why if you go onto the website, it is open, y'all. I made that announcement. So for those who don't know, it is open. Serpent Crystals, I'll type it in later. serpentcrystals.com is the name of the website. It's the occult website. There's herbs there to help you with your rituals. There's ritual oils, essential oils. There's vampiric magic stuff. There's japamalas to help you with your mantras, whether it's Om Krim Kali or any other. There's books. There's all kinds of stuff. I have a lot of things, but limited inventory because I want to see how it goes first, what people like more, what products they request that they would like. So if y'all get a chance, go to serpentcrystals.com, check it out, and let me know the kind of products you guys want or the things that you feel should be on there or missing that you use or utilize in your workings. I have a lot of good stuff that I think people utilize, but of course, like I said, I'm not going to get everything, and then the stuff just sits there. But anyways, I have a section there on herbs. My passion is working with herbs. I create my own ritualistic aromas. And what I mean by that is, like, I have a necromancy aroma that I created, right? I use wormwood. I use mugwort. I use Dittany Lacrete, which I have to get, which is hard to get. These three are herbs. I mix it with frankincense, the rock frankincense, dragon's blood, and camphor. And man, when I tell you that thing is lit, and you trying to make contact with your ancestors or spirits, it's a party. They just chilling. Once they smell that, they come into your sacred space or where you at, and they just chilling at like a round table, like just dancing, chilling with you. But that's my passion. That's one of my passions. I love things like that. So discover your passions as you go forth on your self-made path. Discover that. One of my good brothers, I don't know if he's on here. Let me peek real quick. Is my brother, there's my brother, Andre Pope, also known as Mario Pope. My brother got like 20 different names. I thought I had a lot of names. But anyways, my brother has a passion. He creates things. I'll let him reveal that to y'all one day. But he creates things with his hands. That man is a master craftsman. So if y'all need something built, something made, hit up my boy Mario Pope, also known as Andre Pope. He's like a master mason, not the secret society order, symbolic order. I'm talking about he really builds stuff. That's the man. That's one of his passions. Discover that stuff because it'll push you and move you forward. That's what's important when you walk this path, your path of self-mastery. Whether it's, some call it left-hand path, the shadow self, whatever. Discover that part of yourself. Strong in the Force are those who embrace their passion. Stronger still is the Sith who guides those passions as a weapon or tool, calculating how to use it with reason and intellect. Repeat that part again. Strong in the Force are those who embrace their passion. Stronger still is the Sith who guides those passions as a weapon or tool, calculating its use with reason and intellect. Your passion could be utilized as a weapon or a tool, but if you govern it and utilize it with reason and intellect, it can take you to a whole nother level of existence. Your passion could become your cash cow. Meaning, if you really are passionate about this, the occult is something I'm very passionate about. Left-hand path, shadow work, whatever you want to call these things, is something I'm very passionate about. As y'all, I'm sure y'all already know, as well as Brother Benita, we're very passionate about these things. This is why we take our time to do these things. Then you can use that as a tool with your reason and intellect on taking things to another level in your personal life, things of that nature. But you have to really get down to the nitty gritty to figure out your passion, not just the simple little passions like, okay, I like watching sports, great. But how can you use that as a tool? I love the Yankees, but I can't really use that as a tool that much. It just fuels my passion to watch them. I let out my emotions. I get hyped up or pissed off if they play like crap like they're doing now. That's my passion, my Giants. That's my passion. If I see Beckham catch, run down, get a touchdown, juke some people, that's my passion. But I can't use it as a tool other than releasing my emotions and letting things out like that, which is good to do. You should find an avenue to release your emotions. But I'm talking about passions that could be utilized as a weapon or a tool for your benefit or your growth. Discover those things because those things are essential in your growth. Number 6, the quest to acquire knowledge and power never cease. The quest to acquire knowledge and power must never cease. The only constant is change. There is only movement and evolution. Ceasing in this quest is the path to stagnation and death. Sounds very familiar. The quest to acquire, I'm going to say it again. The quest to acquire knowledge and power must never cease. We should never get stagnant. We should never think we know it all. We should never think, I got it. I got this on lock. I know all this shit. Listen, all the years I've been walking and living this stuff, I never stop resting. I'm always studying, always doing introspections, always meditating, always on some work. There's not a moment I'm not doing some work unless I'm just relaxing and letting go from the day and just chilling. Otherwise than that, I'm always on some work. I'm always trying to acquire more knowledge. I do not ever feel like I know everything because the minute I feel like I know everything, I'm a freaking fool. The wise know that they know nothing. Okay? That's an old adage that's been used for years. The wise know that they know nothing. Because the minute you think you know everything, now comes stagnation and complacency. If you think you don't know nothing, you ever keep telling yourself, I don't know nothing, you're always going to be thirsty and hungry for knowledge, for learning, and applying these things in your life for your constant growth. If you think you're hot shit and you know everything, more power to you. Just telling you from experience, watch it backfire on you. All right? The only constant is change. Many of us have heard this over and over and over. But when you really sit down and look at it, that means that if you stagnate it, there's no change coming your way. If you let your life ebb and flow like the ocean, then you're ready for the change that's going to come your way, that's going to cause you to grow. Change doesn't always mean it's going to be 100% of love and embracing, caring, loving things. As a matter of fact, most of the time when real change comes to really cause some growth, it's going to turn your life upside down or shake it up. That's change. And it shakes you. It tosses and turns you so it can break you free from that stagnation that's leading to your death, your mental death, your spiritual death, because you're stagnated. You should never stop questing for knowledge. The quest for knowledge runs hand in hand with the quest for immortality. How to be immortal. How to extend your physical life. How to eat the proper foods to extend your life. How to breathe properly. Do you know that most human beings, I'm sure many of y'all know this, do not breathe properly? Most human beings bring diseases and infections into their life from improper breathing. You're supposed to breathe deeply in your nose and out your mouth every day. Like a cycle running through. Some of us breathe shallow, meaning we're out of breath all the time. That's not healthy. You should breathe deep, all the way down to the diaphragm, fill up the diaphragm, and exhale it. That's proper breathing. Get a book called The Science of Breath. The Science of Breath. I'll get the author for you. Give me 1 second. It's not there. It's right here. Okay. The author is Yogi Rama Charaka. All right. It's a very important book on your quest for immortality. Proper breathing is essential on your quest for immortality. Learning how to eat for your DNA. Some say blood type. Okay? What I mean by that is my ancestry goes back to Puerto Rico, of course, to Africa and different parts, but more recent to Puerto Rico. How did they eat and live? I mean, how did they eat there? They ate a lot of veggies and fruits because it was all abundant in Puerto Rico at one time. And they ate a lot of fish and some poultry. That's the staple diet of the Taínos, the original indigenous people of Puerto Rico. And it was very similar to some of the tribes of Africa, or from Africa, the tribes that were brought into Puerto Rico, and some were already there. So that's essential to understand that when I eat more like my ancestors, it's healthier for me. Okay? Not only is your diet important, so is these thoughts. If your mind is polluted, if your mind has toxic thoughts, it's going to lead to a toxic body. As we know, the first principle of Tahuti, some call it Hermes, is all is mind, mind is all. Everything begins with the mind. If your mind is toxic, guess what the rest of you will become? Toxic. So on your quest for immortality, your mind, your body, your spirit and soul should be in harmony. It should be working like a nice machine. Okay? If one of those things is out of harmony, it's going to cause illness, diseases, or things of that nature. And another point, it means your chakras are out of order. They're out of whack. You got to line them back up. It's necessary to do the work. Your aura is thin. It's ailing. So your diet is super important. For working out, you should be at least working out or being active. You don't necessarily have to go pump iron every day, but you should be active at least 4 or more days a week. And if you're older, you should walk. You can do yoga. You can ride your bike. Things of that nature are healthy for you and extend your life. That is the quest for immortality, breathing right, thinking right. All these things are essential. As a Sith, as a person on the left-hand path, dark-hand path, path of self-mastery, your vessel is of the utmost importance, and you should take care of it as if it's the utmost importance. It's the temple of God, as some would say. Well, you're the God, so if this is your temple, are you going to have your temple dirty? Dirty, or are you going to have it clean, purified? You understand? This is your temple. Take care of it. Put emphasis on taking care of your temple. Put emphasis on how you breathe. Put emphasis on stretching your body out every day. Some form of yoga or stretches. Tai Chi or martial arts. Essential. Okay? Put emphasis on those things. Because one thing that doesn't stop is time. You can alter and affect time with your mind, but time essentially will still keep ticking. You have to find the talk between the tick. Some of y'all may not know because some of y'all may be younger, but back in the days, we used to have clocks that had a tick-tock, tick-tock. Well, between the tick and the tock, there's a moment in time. When you find that moment in time, between the tick and the tock, you just found another dimension to extend your life. But that's another story, another day, another time. All right. Okay. Number 7. Truth is only relative to the individual. As such, all things told as truth must be questioned and put to test. There goes that old thing again we keep saying. Question everything. Question everybody. Don't take anything for face value. This is why we always tell you, check things out for yourself. Check everything that we're saying out for yourself. This is why we refer you to books. You could check it out for yourself. Because the minute you take anything at face value, set yourself up to be played. All truth must be questioned and put to test. He or she who is slow to believe anything is of great wisdom. For one false principle is a weakness to understanding, and a fetter to growth. Repeat that one again. Number 7 is really, really on point there. Truth is only relative to the individual. It's only relative to you as an individual and how you see it and perceive it. Your perception and how you see things is usually governed and molded by your upbringing, your beliefs, your morality. And a lot of it is programmed into us unless you've done the work to reprogram yourself. So when we see things, it's only relative to us based upon our perceptions and how we see life. As such, all things told as truth must be questioned and put to test. He or she who is slow to believe anything is of great wisdom. Never believe anything right away. Check it out for yourself before you go believe in it. This is why we tell you, before you do a ritual, investigate, study, and alter it to fit your vibrations and frequencies. Don't take that ritual on face value from however you're receiving it. Alter it. Put your stamp on it by putting your energy behind it. Because otherwise than that, when you do somebody else's ritual, you're essentially still feeding them. And although you may get some results from it, they're basically being fed off of the energy you're giving to that ritual because they created it. So you got to really investigate things and be slow to believe anything people tell you. For one false principle is a weakness to understanding and a fetter to growth. All right, now let's go. Okay, this is really long, so this will be for another day. I'm going to go over a few of these. This is called the Sith read. All right? I'm going to go over a few of these, and then we're going to start taking questions. The Sith believe in a living force. Save for, unlike our Jedi brothers and sisters, we do not abide the separation of light and dark sides. Rather, we see the whole. Yes, we do emphasize a lot about the shadow work, understanding the darkness, only because unless you go into the abyssic mind, go deep into your subconscious and deal with the things that are sitting there, laying there, you can never fully reach your full potential. Okay? Once you do that, then when you come back into the light, you understand the light, the intellect, and the power of how to use that light, the intellect, for your benefit and growth. Unlike the Jedi who gets stuck in that illusion of light, gets stuck in the blinding light, gets stuck in false illusions and overly compassionate and all these things, no. We see the benefit of the dark and the light and how to use it. We see the Set and the Heru and understand both to bring harmony within ourselves. We don't forget about one. Okay, yes, I said we do emphasize the dark a lot, and it's for a reason, but we do not, in our own personal workings, we know how to bring that harmony back in by working with Heru, working with Asar and things of that nature, but not from a point of this religious mindset that has been implanted into Heru and Asar that people utilize today, more so in the concept of how it harmonizes with aspects of yourself. We understand the so-called light side, but we do not fear the dark. A true Sith knows that the division of the whole is only to aid in the understanding of those who fear their inner natures. To see one side without the other is to cease to be whole, and one will never know oneself. That right there explains why we put so much emphasis on the dark. Because people always focus. Since you were young, all you've been taught to do is focus on the light, the light, the light, the light, the light, 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 light. That's all you hear is light, 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 light. Light workers, the light. Oh, merge into the light. Become one with the light. We're so inundated with the light that what sits in darkness is totally forgotten about, and we cannot be a complete or whole being if we do not bring forth that part of ourselves that sits in the dark, that is ignored or purposely ran from. So our emphasis is understanding your inner nature. You have to go into the dark. You have to understand your fears, your traumas, your pains, your wounds, your perversions, your angers, your hatreds. You have to understand them. Not just understand them, you have to totally embrace them to control them. Okay? Then when you gain control over that, they no longer have an effect on you or affect you in such a way to continue your habitual patterns over and over. To see one side without the other is to cease to be whole, and one will never know oneself. You have to know both sides. Most of us know our light side. Very few of us know our dark side. If you don't know both sides, then you don't truly know yourself. And to really, truly know yourself, you're going to have to go into the dark. I don't care how afraid you are of the dark. I don't care how afraid you are of yourself. I don't care how afraid you are of the things you hide about yourself. You have to face it someday. It's necessary. Number two, Sith do not fear the dark side, and we do not allow it to control us. A Sith Lord does not merely fall to the dark side, rather we embrace it. To fall is to surrender oneself. The path of Sith is in discipline and self-control. Discipline and self-control. Unfortunately, for the years that I've been walking this path, Beniti's been walking this path, what we've noticed is the lack of discipline people have. They have no true discipline, which then leads to a lack of self-control. If you can't discipline yourself and say, let's say you like to drink, and you can't say, okay, 2 drinks and that's enough, because after 2, I get borderline stupid. And you're going to make an excuse when you get to 2 and say, no, just 1 more. And every time that's it, there's 1 more. You lack self-control. Which means if I see that, I see you have no self-control of your life, then that means the reflection of your life is exactly what we see. Chaos, disruption, it's just totally out of order. You have to have discipline. You have to know when to say enough is enough. You have to know when to say it's time to do my ritual. It's time to go exercise. It's time to do this and stick by it. You have to know. Without that discipline and self-control, you only go so far. And the sad part is, if you lack that, don't look to other people for the solutions to your lack of discipline or self-control. But it happens quite often. But no one can give you that discipline and self-control. It's something you have to find or discover within yourself. If you're practicing sex magic, you can't just say, okay, well, I got discipline. We're going to work this and that's it. You lack discipline and you start with 1 partner, you end up with 10. No discipline, no self-control. Out of order. Totally out of order. It happens, though. It happens quite often. All right, y'all, the last one. And then we're going to take some questions. Number 3. Sith Lords wield the Force, energy, life energy, things of that nature. We are not mere servants unto it. We are not passengers on the journey of life. Rather, we are masters and commanders. It is our imperative that we are aware of the potential around us in the Force, and then act on it to seize what should be. If one is true to the whole of the Force and oneself, our judgments will always stand true. Stop being a passenger of life if you are. This is not addressed to any one particular person, or it's addressed to everybody. If you feel like you're more of a passenger of life instead of being the master of your life, you might want to start making changes in your life. You're not at the mercy of life. You're only at the mercy of life when you don't realize that you can control your life and create events in your life and have those events come out the way you hope them to, because you have the power to wield the mind, the Force, to create that. Then you will be a servant unto life, and you're just a mere passenger. You don't have to be. You can control every part of your life, and every part of your life can be controlled by you. Stop thinking you're weak. Stop thinking things happen by accident. They do when you don't allow yourself to realize that you're the master over your life and you can control every aspect of your life. But that work begins in the subjective. It begins in the subconscious, the reprogramming, the deconditioning. It begins there. That's where the true work has to take place. This is essential on your journey. It is our imperative that we are aware of the potential around us in the Force, and then act on it to seize what should be. You create, you make what you feel it should be. If one is true to the whole of the Force and oneself, things will stand true. Things will always stand true. So take inventory of your life. Are you really running your life? Are you controlling your life? Or you're still at the mercy of gods and goddesses, deities, reverends, pastors, master teachers, or whatever else people want to call themselves today? Are you still at somebody else's mercy? Are you still waiting for the next hot thing that comes out down the pipe on the occult? Are you still waiting for somebody to put out a t-shirt with some kind of veve or FEMA and then jumping all over it like it's some hot shit, when it can never really be hot shit, because in order for a veve or FEMA to work, it has to be consecrated in animal blood? Or if it's not consecrated in animal blood, to be activated to bring forth that energy, it has to be activated by your own bodily fluids, whether they're sexual fluids, saliva, or whatever the case may be. So stop falling for the next okie doke, the next hocus pocus, and start creating your own shit. Start being the one who controls and creates their life, controls and creates the next hot shit for your life. And if others can reap benefits from it, it's all good. But stop waiting for somebody else to do that and do it for yourself. Go into your ritual room tonight and say, yo, can I create a ritual on the spot right now? Ask yourself, could you really do that? I'm sure some of y'all can. You could actually just walk in your room, your ritual room, clear your mind, and just go in there and create a ritual as you go. Can you do that? Try it. Try it and see if you can. I'm sure many of y'all can. And then if some of you are honest, you can't. And then if you can't, you have to ask yourself a question. Why can't I? Well, it's possible that we're still relying on someone else to do it for us. You, the master and the commander of your life. Always remember that. And I will repeat that over and over and over. You're the master and commander of your life. I've said this from my old videos to today. In this world, to me, there's only two kinds of people. There's a master and a servant. Unfortunately, we have way too many servants and very few masters. Okay? To me, all I see is either a master or a servant. And I see far too many servants than masters. So why do myself and Beniti do this? Is to give you the push to become a master over your own life. So there could be more masters over their own life and far fewer servants than there are today. You see them too. You know who the servants are. They're the ones who are easily rattled by the next event that occurs. They're the ones who are easily made emotional by the next event that occurs. They're so occult. They're so divine and dark, but then they get easily rattled when something doesn't go their way. Or they get easily rattled when some life event occurs. And, case in point, you start following the masters again. You start giving in to the masters. To be a master takes discipline and self-control. It's to take control over your life and stop riding a long life like shit just happens by accident. And oh, well, I'll deal with it when it comes. If you really knew your power, you would know you create your life from the moment you wake up to when you go to sleep. I'll give you an example. When I wake up in the morning, I do certain affirmations, I do a ritual, and I set my path for that day every morning. 99% of the time, it happens just like I programmed it to in the morning. Okay? Then, in the evening, I close out the day by doing a ritual to close out the day and whatever other tasks I want to perform at that ritual. That's controlling your life and being the master, not being controlled by life. All right, hit me, y'all. Let me roll up here. Let me scroll. All right, let me start at the top, see if there's any questions. You know, Gypsy Goddess, let me ask you a question. I noticed that every time you watch one of our videos, you either getting out the shower or you taking a bath. Now, what's up with that? Huh? No, I'm just messing with you. Anyways. Trina, you are coming back. One thing I can tell you is when I saw you that day before the ritual and I saw you after, you look totally changed. Your eyes totally changed. And it was on some serious stuff. And I could see the focus in your eyes, the determination in your eyes. I said, yeah, the shift occurred. You shifted. And I could see it that night. That's why when we were all sitting at the dinner table, I kept glimpsing at you and looking at your eyes because I was like, yeah, I can see it. I said, that spirit revving her up. Revving her up. I can see it. All right. That's correct. Obsidian Sun. Self-delusion equates to being the fruitless practitioner. Unfortunately, a lot of us delude ourselves. And not only delude ourselves, but we're unrealistic with it. Like, somebody will say, Ravana Noon, can you give me a ritual so I can get one of the people in Migos to like me? What? Is you stupid? No, let me stop. Anyways, I look at them like, really? First of all, you don't walk in the same circles as the group Migos. Personally, I could care less. I don't like a lot of this new stuff. I know who people are because I'm a music fan, so I know who people are. I'm not really with the new stuff, but if they were to say that to me, is this unrealistic right there, and they're living in a delusional mind state. The likelihood of you getting with one of them people outside of just for sex is like really slim because you don't walk in the same circles. Okay, that's unrealistic, which leads to even more delusions. I'm just saying. All right. Yep. That happens to all of us at an early age. We do all these things when we're young and we think it's going to last forever. Then life wakes us up. That is 100, 100, and times 100 to the 100. Obsidian Sun says the Sith move beyond all boundaries and limitations and is ever vigilant to discover limitations that are not so obvious. That is 100. I'm going to say it again, 100 times 100 times 100 to times 100 again. On point. You always are busting and breaking loose from your own self-made boundaries and limitations. Not just society's boundaries and limitations, your family's, religion, your own self-created boundaries and limitations. We're always seeking as a Sith to break free from boundaries and limitations, especially the self-created ones. And you always look for new ones to pop up, or now I shouldn't say new ones that are not so we're not so aware of to pop up. And when it pops up, we address it immediately. We go into it immediately and we dissect it and master it so that we can overcome that limitation that we may not have been aware of before. True Sith do not limit themselves to anything. You challenge yourself for everything to raise up to a whole nother level. But to do that, you always have to be vigilant, always on guard, always keeping your eye open. I didn't say eyes, y'all. I said your eye open for those very things that we sometimes are not aware of to creep or pop up. One of the most difficult things I think people are discovering, to be brutally honest with oneself, is not an easy task. Because we all want to think we're hot shit, lovely shit, nicer, more beautiful than ever. But in reality, it's very difficult to do is ask ourselves these questions, hard-hitting questions that are going to rip open things you're going to discover that you may not totally be aware of, that are going to shock you and shake you. But it's essential to. It's essential to be brutally honest about everything in your life. And once you're able to do that, you'll see more growth and change occur than before. Constant introspection and self-evaluation, yes. Every night before I go to sleep, I do introspection and evaluate myself for that day or any days. I do this every night as a way of taking inventory before I rest. And I do this to really pay attention about things about myself that are not always so forthcoming. Susie Rodriguez says, I don't even know anymore. Okay, you don't know. Maybe she could clarify if she's still on here. Doesn't know anymore. Let us know what exactly you meant by that. Excuse me. Sorcery tops the list for me. Sorcery work is important. I like oils and candles. I see me doing that. I've noticed your pronunciation is very good when you say Arabic words. Yeah, it's in there. I definitely see it in you. I'm from the islands too, in part, but we do have those Arab spirits and DNA. Here's what's interesting about that, Gypsy Goddess. The first slaves that were brought to Puerto Rico, which is not a commonly known fact, were Arab women. Arab and Moorish women. As y'all know, the Moors were in Spain, and I don't just mean Moors, but Arabs came from Saudi Arabia too, and places like that. Were in Spain for over 700 years. After the Spaniards finally took over back the country of Spain, they enslaved some of the Moors and Arabs. And of course, they brought over the woman because most of the people that came to Puerto Rico were men. And so they brought over the woman for, relation kind of thing, not relationships, relation kind of things. And that was the first group of slaves brought to Puerto Rico. This is why it's in our Arab DNA. And then more came on their own in different times. As a matter of fact, when my grandmother was alive, she used to tell me a story how in her town, there used to be Arabs that came over to sell their rugs and trinkets like that. And many of them settled in her town. Just a little historical note. All right, let's see. That's it. That's Brother Pope, the master of the fairy house. He's a master mason and he can build some. Trust me, that brother can build. Well, Wacky J, contact Mario and see what y'all can work out. True. Gypsy, when you coming down to the next ritual? We can finally meet you? All right. Wait a second. Shit, this always jumps. As long as you're alive, taking breath, breathing, existing, as Brother Obsidian Sun says, there's always another level to attain. As long as you're alive, as long as you're breathing, this heart is beating, you're always going to attain other levels. There's always more to attain. Never get stagnant, never get too cocky, never get too comfortable. That's the way to do it, Brother Pope. You mix your own herbs, you create your own path, you do your own herbs, whether it's a poison path. I do a lot of necromancy and spirits of the sea, so I work with a lot of herbs of that nature. But trust, I know other herbs to work to do other things too. That's right, Brother Duma. That's correct. The Science of Breath by Yogi Ramacharaka, aka William Walker Atkinson. And that's correct. Obsidian Sun, the cast that should be embraces change. Every part of your life is going to some point or another change. And actually, at one time, you used to go through different cycles of your life where your DNA would live out a certain time frame, maybe 7 years, 9 years, and then life events would occur. Flip it upside down, where then you would live another 7 to 9 years of experiences to cause another change, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. No doubt. Obsidian Sun astral hygiene is also very important. Hygiene, in whether it's the astral plane, the physical plane, any plane, hygiene is very important. Very important. I've had bad experiences with performing rituals and somebody has the dragon breath. You're doing some mantras or invocations and all you can smell is this dragon breath smacking you like this. You can't concentrate, like you trying to really focus on doing this ritual. You heart, your passion's in it, but this dragon breath just keep like circling around your ear and coming back to your nose. That's just not cute. I don't know if some of y'all experienced this before, but in a ritual, if you coming in and your breath is funky, your ass is funky, you're going to distract everybody else and do a disservice to everybody else. This is why, since ancient times, cleanliness was considered next to godliness. You should not go to a ritual funkified. You should have washed your ass at least. You should have brushed your teeth or used mouthwash at least. Throw some gum or breath mint in there at least, because it can be very distracting and annoying for other people. And I've experienced this before. I'm sure some of y'all have as well. It's not a cute thing. My V. Peace, peace, my V. That's correct, Obsidian Sun. And it's actually depicted with Set and Heru come together and form one body. Set looking one direction, Heru's looking the other direction. They form one body, which is one deity, which is your goal. It's the unification of Het and Het. Set and Heru is the unification of them within the self. That's your ultimate goal, is how to bring the unification, the harmony between the Set aspect of yourself and the Heru aspect of yourself to create a new God, the new you. Trina, now when we say expose that dark side of yourself, we're not telling you to publicly do that. So I apologize if we made you think it was such. No, you're doing this on a personal level. You're exposing the dark side of yourself on a personal level. You don't have to broadcast it. You don't have to share it, only if you choose to with those who you trust. But that's not what we're referring to. The work, most of this work is a solitary work. So you're not going to be publicly sharing this with anybody or putting it anywhere on Front Street. That's your choice if you choose to do that. It's a personal thing. So your dark side work is a personal thing. Share that with only those you wish to share it with and you feel you can trust about that. It's not for everybody. Trust is not for everybody. Everybody should not know about your dark side. And I'll give you an example why. If everybody knew about your dark side, then that means to me you're an attention whore more than really about your work. Meaning if you put everything on Front Street about your dark side, you're seeking more attention and oh, you're so deep and so profound. You did the darkness work and shadow work and wow, how'd it go? That's all good. This is more personal work. And you share with few or no one if you choose to. That's your business because it's a solitary work and it's a work that is private, not public. So if we did make you feel like it's a public thing, I apologize for that. That's not what it is. It's a private thing. Work it for self. Only for self, for you to really understand it. All right. Yeah, Gypsy, we were just saying how, you always in the shower or in the bathtub when we do these videos. Mm. Mm. Anyways, like you said, the first self-created are most definitely more powerful, more potent. I can attest to that. If you right now walking this path and still feel like you have to use other people's things or still feel the need to work deities, I understand that. But the ultimate goal walking this path is when you get to the point where you need no archetypes, gods, goddesses, you don't need any of that anymore, because everything you do from that day forth is self-created. Whether it's a servitor, whether you create your own archetypes, whatever the case, the point is to get to a level where all you do is utilize your creative mind and the things you created to do your work. We should by now, mind you, we should by now have gotten away from still using ancient archetypes. I'm not saying it's wrong. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we all by now should have created our own archetypes. We all should have created a new concept or mythologies that could be utilized for the future to teach the next youth on how to empower themselves and be masters instead of worshiping and groveling. That's the goal, is to get to that level. It's not to worship anything. It's not to still rely on these old archetypes. You can use them. I still use some on occasion. But the goal is to work from your self-created servitors, deities, things of that nature. On my altar right now, I only have 2 archetypes, Set and Kali. The rest are just symbols of death or symbols of power. That's it. I don't work with much anything else. Every so often I'll use the Neturu, the Kemetic archetypes, for a different kind of work, but that's it. I try to create my own things most consistently so that I can get away from constantly utilizing other archetypes, other things that were here before me, been here thousands of years, and we've been connecting to it. To be a god is to create something new for yourself, or if you choose to share it for others. That's to be a god. Create for yourself. Do the things for yourself to make it happen for yourself. Peace, JR. Straight Panther 79. This is not a book. This is information from the Sith order I used to belong to. But it's now defunct. Here's some of the information that was shared with some of us. It used to be on Tumblr. The individual who created some of this, he asked us for our input, so we all threw our input, and then these are some of the degrees that came out, some of the information that came out. So like I said, people want some of this, I could share it with y'all. That's not a problem. But this is just some of the things that we were learning. That was some years back. Yes, Gypsy Goddess, the Moors. The Moors. Let's speak about the Moors real quick. The Moors. No, anyways, yes, in my DNA, I do have Moorish ancestry, and they go to Morocco. which is really not the real name of the country, by the way. For those who do know, it's not Morocco, okay? The original name of that country was Maghrib. In Arabic, Maghrib, okay, which means the West. It's like the foremost land in Africa, or the westernmost country in the Arab kingdom at that time. That's one of the reasons why it was named Maghrib, okay? Those ancestors are found in my blood, which explains why for years I was into the Ansar Allah. I was into a lot of Arab mysticism. Still, to this day, I utilize some of the Arab mysticism. I don't know if y'all were on the show Thursday night on Awakening Universal Minds on talkshoe.com, but we discussed how you can still use Arab mysticism right now while walking the left-hand path to empower yourself. For example, you could do Al-Fatiha, okay? When you do Al-Fatiha, you do understand what you're saying, but instead of in your mind thinking you're doing this to some spook god named Allah, you're Allah, or Allah, okay? Sorry, let me say it with the Arabic tone and vibration. Allah, you're Allah, okay? So what you realize is when you're doing the Fatiha, you're Allah. And I use that in some mornings when I wake up to affirm myself as ruler of the worlds, as it says, right? In Al-Fatiha, you're the ruler of the worlds. Your world, your personal world. You're the ruler over your world, okay? So I can utilize Al-Fatiha to empower myself. I can also use the 99 attributes of Allah when I dhikr, okay? Like, for example, today I did Al-Mu'akhir, okay? Or Mu'akhir. I utilize that attribute, okay? Because it's related to reworking or redoing the path over and over again, okay? So I dhikr that, but I'm Mu'akhir or Mu'akhir when I realize that I'm the ruler over my domain, so that attribute empowers me to take control and possession of my life so I can stop repeating a loop or a habit or a pattern in my life and take control. That's how you can take old systems and bring it into your left-hand path work and utilize it to empower yourself. I have these mini bakhurs, right, which are the little incense by Nabil.com. Okay, but you actually could go through Amazon to get them. Powerful incense. I only use them for my rituals. But boy, those are the best smelling incense that you can use in any ritual. I mean, them things is powerful. So you could utilize any of these things on your path and you empower yourself by taking the old, deconstructing it, and reconstructing it to something new. Deconstruction versus reconstruction. You deconstruct the old things in your life, the old symbolism, the old religions, the old spiritual systems, and you construct it or reconstruct it to something some work that is utilized while walking the left-hand path. That's an important aspect to do. Okay? Now, all right, let's see where we at here before I get lost, because I get hyped up and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, all right, so Santo Domingo is the city that was the most mixed. PR2, yes. And DR, boy, that's some mixed people over there. I've been there. I visited Dominican Republic before, and I stayed in Santo Domingo. Boy, that was an experience. Anyways. Yeah, my family's from PR. And yep, I have African, Arab, I got a very small percentage, I think 5% of Hindu or East Indian and Spaniard. And Taino, of course. I got it all in me. That's why I'd be crazy. Let me stop. All right. Yes. Outside of these videos, a lot of people don't know what I do in my everyday life. I keep it private and quiet for a reason. Because the more people are involved or connected to you, the more, listen, the more people are involved or connected to you, the more problems can occur when you're doing your ritual work. There's more distractions that can occur. There's more nosiness that can occur. And that kind of throws you off your path. So sometimes when you do your ritual work or your spiritual work, keep it private, man. People who broadcast and want to be on Facebook and Instagram sharing their divine experiences and they had a Kundalini awakening and it's all bullcrap. Trust me, most people have had a spontaneous Kundalini awakening, not a real Kundalini awakening. It's something that spontaneously happens and goes away and never happens again, maybe in their lifetime. To really awaken your Kundalini is one thing. To keep your Kundalini raised is the work. And that takes discipline and years of study and work to accomplish. So please, people, do not tell me your Kundalini is just awakened. Please, cut it out. No, sorry. Anyways, are the Moors a Sith? All right, I'll say it like this. The Sith symbolism that was created by George Lucas was based on things here on the planet Earth, okay? It was based on his travels. One of his teachers was Joseph Campbell. He learned a lot from Joseph Campbell. I spoke about this in one of the last videos. Joseph Campbell studied world mythology, the hero concept that is found in almost all world mythology. And he connected the dots. So Joseph Campbell, kind of influenced George Lucas on that respect. Okay? Not only that, but George Lucas also had his own travels. Okay? I'm sure he, in his travel, because he was in California for years, kind of ran into or made contact with the Temple of Seth. Okay? Remember, one of the other ways that Seth is said is Seth. Very similar to Sith. What are the colors worn? The colors that are worn are black and red in both temples. The Temple of Seth and the Sith wear black and red a lot. Okay, they're symbolic colors for a reason. The Hashashin, which became in time known as the Assassins, wore black and red. They wore all black, okay? They covered their face. They had a turban on, and they covered their face, and they were all black with a red sash, okay? Those were known as the Hashashin, all right? The Hashashin were Sufis, mystics, and magicians, also warriors and assassins, okay? Some of the Hashashin were Moors, okay? So in some way, shape, form, and fashion, the secret societies, the orders, all of these things are all connected. Even if it's a mythology like Star Wars and the Sith that were utilized or created for that movie have their basis in avenues and things that we created as people here. All right? So in a way, yes, it's all connected. And if you know how to work it, you can utilize something like the Sith and make it a reality in your life. That's chaos magic. Chaos magic can use fictitious writings from H.P. Lovecraft, which were really things that were happening in his subconscious mind and in his ritual working. He put it into a book, and people now fell in love with Cthulhu. Okay? They fell in love with all these things, but that all comes from the mind of H.P. Lovecraft. And people work that shit in chaos magic and work it in their magic and get results. You can use anything. The emphasis is you can use any system you want as long as you get results. So I work a lot with the Sith because the Sith are more relevant to me today than some of the ancient systems are. Why? Because it's in my time frame. It's in my existence, meaning Star Wars, original Star Wars came out in 1977. I was 6 years old. Yes, I'm saying my age indirectly. I was 6 years old when it came out. From that day forth to today, I was all about the Sith, always attracted to the dark side of the Force, all those things. So it became more relevant to me today and working my rituals than some ancient system that is thousands of years removed from me. So I chose to use a lot of the Sith concepts and how it's relevant today. What else? I used the vampire magic because anybody who studied the Sith know that the Sith are connected to vampiric magic in a sense too. Okay? What do I mean by that? I mean, there's in Sith sorcery, one of the workings is draining of energy, how to drain life force energy from a planet, from an object, from whatever. Same thing as vampire magic. Okay? So you see, it's all interconnected. So I utilize vampiric magic because it's something that I was naturally doing all my life, was getting charged up off of life energy, life force, the chi, the prana, the sechem, whatever you want to call these things. I was always charged up by that. For some reason, I always got charged up when I took in a lot of life force energy. Okay? In a sense, I didn't realize that I was kind of draining energy from things or people around me. That's why I utilize that as well as the working of the Sith. It's more relevant to me and my path today than a lot of these ancient concepts. They're far removed from me or disconnected. I've never been to Kemet. And if I go, which I plan to go to Egypt, trust me, in my lifetime very soon, the next year or two. But still, the Kemet that's there today is not the original Kemet. So it still be far removed. I will probably feel the energy of the ancestors, the energy of the electromagnetic force that is created by the pyramids and things of that nature. But there's still a disconnect because the original people there either mixed in or deceased. You understand? So this makes it difficult when you work. Okay? Makes it difficult when you work because sometimes you try to work some magic system that's thousands of years old and you get no result. Sometimes it's because you're not really vested in it. You're really not passionate about it. Or you're not connected into it. So it doesn't, your passion or desire is not strong behind it. When you do this, I find things that are more relevant to me today. Okay? So, that's right, Duma. The Travels of a Sufi. That was an excellent book. A lot of the things I learned about too is when you learn about Nasra Musladeen. Okay, he's like the scapegoat or the comedian within a lot of Sufi stories, but there's symbolism behind the stories. All right. I like the vampire blood incense. Yeah, I use that. I actually have to get some from my website. I'm trying to find a person who carries them on wholesale, but I'm going to carry those as well. I have a vampire magic section on the website that I have vampiric oils right now to really help empower your rituals. So if y'all are interested in vampire magic, which we'll be discussing tomorrow, Sunday at 7 o'clock tomorrow, Y'all need to get them oils. They good. They really work. Okay. As well as I have a vampire on my statue. I actually have a vampire on my statue. I should have brought it here to show y'all, but it's nice, y'all. It's nice. All right, but anyways. You may pass out, Gypsy Goddess, or you may float. You may find yourself floating down the Nile River in a boat with a bunch of studly men. You know what I'm saying? Taking care of you, making you feel nice and divine, like Hateru of the past. So you could pass out, or you could float on. Anyways. Did I ever get the mail order Darth Vader? No, I don't think I did. Hook it up. If I didn't get, I don't think I did actually. No. I don't think I did. So I'll look into it though. All right, y'all. Any other questions, comments that y'all want to bring up? Well, while y'all bring in questions, I'll say this. The Sith utilize their emotions a lot. Okay? What I mean by that is this. They'll go into their anger. They won't suppress it. They won't run from it. They won't hide from it. They'll go into their anger. And their anger fuels them. In your meditations or in your ritual work, try to fuel your rituals by your passion, your emotions, and see if you get a difference. What I mean by that is if you want to destroy some blockage or obstacle in you, try to get angry before you actually go and do the ritual. Because your anger will give you focus. This is Sith alchemy at its finest. Try to get angry before you do your ritual because it will give you focus, and that passion, that emotion will fuel your desire and intent to another level, another degree. And your ritual will be very strong and very powerful. So understand that. When you do Sith alchemy, it's utilizing the very things that you've been taught are limiting or weak and learning to transmute them to something that can become powerful or strong to assist you in your working. I said this last week. When you look at Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, which was number 3, okay? Episode number 3. When they discovered that Senator Palpatine or Chancellor Palpatine was actually the Sith Lord Darth Sidious, they were shocked. The Jedi are supposed to be so spiritual, so divine, so amazingly tuned into the Force that they even couldn't see that the Chancellor Palpatine was actually Darth Sidious and was manipulating and sitting there the whole time behind the scenes to destroy the Jedi. Now, take that and apply that to your life. You should be able to utilize the shadows. Cloak yourself in the shadows. What do I mean by that? Never let anybody truly or totally know who you are unless it's your loved ones or your inner circle. Okay? You put a shadow around yourself, meaning you don't have to go outside wearing the Baphomet medallion, 10 occult rings with pentagrams and all kinds of things, okay? You don't have to do a lot of that. You may have one thing like this, the skull, gee, I can't even talk right now. The skull bracelet right now, okay? I actually got this skull bracelet made by Bafa Marga. Some of y'all know her. She does great work. So if y'all need to, contact her. She does. I got this. This simple thing. I don't have to be braggadocious and loud with it. Okay? You cloak yourself in the shadows. So no one truly knows what your work is. But from the shadows, meaning your cloak, your costume, you can manipulate things for your life, for your benefit, for your growth. So you, and this is referring kind of to what Trina said too, you should cloak yourself. Never let anybody truly see who you are. Like Darth Sidious in Revenge of the Sith was cloaked, and from episode 1, 2, and 3, nobody knew who he was. He was the master, the Sith master that they were all looking for, and he was right in front of their face. I use that as an example because too many times people will go out there and brag about their spiritual work, brag about what they do, what they this, that, and the third, and bring unwanted attention to them. That's not good. Okay? Sith work in the shadows. We cloak ourselves. We use manipulation, deceit, cunningness to get the work done. Now, they may seem like something contrary to being good, holy, righteous, and right, but I'm not trying to be good, holy, righteous, and right. I'm just trying to be the master over myself, and I operate on a different system than most people. I'm not about trying to be the nicest guy on the planet. And if you look at what the word nice really comes from, the etymology of the word nice comes from the root meaning of ignorant. So while they have everybody playing nice, Mr. Nice Guy, Mr. Nice Girl, they're really making you ignorant and shafting you up the anus with no grease. While they have you think, oh, I'm so nice and so lovely, they doing some treachery around you. And then people use this other religious spell. But karma is going to come back and hurt them. Listen, I know some black magicians, some serious black magicians. People have been doing black magic for years. And ain't shit ever came back to hurt these people. Now, some people could say, yeah, but they know how to block themselves, protect themselves. I don't give a damn. If karma's karma, it could bypass all of that crap. But obviously it doesn't. Do you understand? So if it doesn't bypass all of that, then you have to ask yourself a question. Who's really playing and who's being fooled? Who's really being played and who's the fools? You got to understand, when you really look at this whole big picture, you're either a master or a servant. To be a master is not being Mr. Nice Guy or Mr. Nice Girl. It's not being overly compassionate and abused. You're being abused and misused for your over compassion. It's being strong and direct and in control of your life and in control of your emotions. You utilize your emotions accordingly. That's what's really the path of working this. It's not what we've been told. Okay? It's not about being so divine and loving and caring. It's about being strong and ferocious. Vampiric magic is spiritual predatory magic. Some people ain't really ready for that because they're like, well, what do you mean I'm like a predator? Yes, you're feeding off of energy. Some of you do this naturally. I know some females that drain a nigga just by looking at him. She just look at him, and that dude's practically busting off just because she looked at him, because she gave him those seductive eyes, and she just know how to work those lips and those eyes and that body. Just from looking at him, he's lost. I know some brothers who could work it the same way. That's vampiric magic. That's not for the weak. This is not the magic people are accustomed to. Going out to the tree and hugging the tree and planting something around the tree and kissing the tree and I love you and all this fairies, you know, fairies, I want to tickle your little fairy butts. This is not that kind of magic. Sith, vampire magic is really working on the dark current. And if you know, the Sith and the vampire current are also working on the death current. It's about binding spirits, taking spiritual energy, taking spirits, binding them to you to empower yourself by using some of the powers of these spirits. Whether they like it or not, you take that energy, you take that power for yourself. That's real work of vampire magic and Sith magic. How to empower yourself. You utilize all kinds of things to empower yourself. Okay? To empower this individual that you are, to make yourself stronger, okay, to make yourself more potent. That's the work that's not often discussed. So, okay, you get to master yourself and you work on your darkness and you do a lot of work to master control that. Then what? Then what? You understand? And somebody answer that for me. Then what? Okay, you did all this. Now what? Okay, what? You just got it? You just mastered it? Now you're back to the same thing. What's next? Oh, I mastered myself. I'm strong now. But what's next? Well, you still got to survive. So you better use that power that you obtained and learned about and that mastery over yourself to get what you want out of this life while you still living. Because ain't nobody going to hand you a red damn cent just because you mastered yourself. Oh, whoever, let me just mention somebody, oh, Straight Panther, you mastered yourself. Let me just give you all my money. Not happening. All right? People are just going to look at you and say, what up, bro? And then you're back to where you are having to survive in this regular environment. So if you can't use all that stuff you're learning ritualistically, all this occult powers, and utilize it for your everyday existence and survival, what good is it? Yeah, you master yourself. That's what's good. But now how do you use that self-mastery to survive in everyday life? That's the part commonly not spoken about. So if you're not really willing and ready to get busy with it, really willing and ready to get into the level of the Sith mind or the vampiric mind, where you're going to absorb energy, where you're going to visit your boss or your target of affection that you want so bad or desire while they're asleep and place thoughts in their mind, this ain't the work for you. Oh, that's evil. That's wrong. Why is it evil or wrong? Somebody explain to me why that's evil wrong. If I visit you in your dream and whisper in your ear and place a thought in your mind and a seed to grow and develop, how is it wrong? People do it every day when they go to church and pray to Jesus, and you plant all these seeds while you're in this church house, and guess who's pimping off that shit, y'all? The pastor, the reverend, the priest. He's pimping off of all your prayers. He's pimping off of all your desires and wishes. And oh, God, help me. And all that energy that's prayed inside of this church. The church is shaped the way it is because of the acoustics, and the way it's shaped, it has greater acoustics, which creates a sound environment. What I mean by that is the acoustics, and why the churches are like that is the acoustic cultivates and harnesses that energy of your prayers, your singing, your dancing, or whatever else you do in church. Some niggas are twerking in church nowadays. Hey, whatever. I guess Jesus want to see that twerk it up. But what I'm saying is, the pastor's pimping off of you, getting all this energy off you, all these finances. What are you getting? What are you getting for your life today? If you can't alter this subjective mind to create a new objective universe, what good is it? If you got to use the subjective mind to manipulate the objective universe for your benefit, you best get off the high horse of being all wise, right, and exact and super righteous and get some dark energy work to make it happen for you. That's the real deal. Because we can sit here all day and night and talk about the Sith. But when I get off of this, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go visit Gypsy Goddess while she takes... No, let me stop. I'm playing. Anyways, that's a joke, y'all. That's a joke. I wait till she is asleep and do it. Anyways, now, seriously. So, you got to understand, if you're not really willing to get into some real work and utilize the dark energy, dark matter to manipulate your existence, don't do it. They already proved 93% of the universe is dark energy, dark matter. So everything you do is going to manipulate something in the dark. It's not going to manipulate it in the light, which is only 7% of existence. It's going to manipulate it in the dark. So if you are afraid of the dark and afraid to manipulate and plant seeds and thoughts into people and drain energy from life forces around you, because this is happening all the time, whether we like it or not, then don't do the work. The Sith have no problem manipulating shit to work for their benefit. If more people realize that being merciful is a weakness, we would be more strong and empowered as a group of people than we are today. What do I mean by that? If you're asking for mercy, according to the Sith, if you ask me for mercy, you're too weak to receive it. Why would I give it to you if you're asking for mercy? That means you're a weak-minded person. For me to give mercy is a person who stands strong and doesn't beg and doesn't whine and grovel about, please give me, don't do this or that. That's weak. You're a weak person. A true Sith mentality understands that equality is a lie, but yet they use it to control people. Okay? Equality is not real. If that's the case, then how the hell is LeBron doing what he did? What I mean by that is LeBron basically willed the Cleveland Cavaliers last year into the NBA Finals. As a whole, the Cleveland Cavaliers were not a great team. LeBron basically willed them to the NBA Finals. Where's the equality in that, y'all? There is not another player on this planet playing right now. Right now, to me, Jordan was greater, but that's another debate for another time. But there's no other player right now in the NBA that's on LeBron's level. I don't like the dude personally. Of course, if he'd never been on the Knicks, if he was on the Knicks, I'd probably be his favorite fan. But personally, I don't like the dude. But I give him props where props is due. The dude is phenomenal. He can will his team that is not that good to the NBA Finals. And you can see they were not that good. They got exposed in the NBA Finals. There's no equality in that. But yet we're taught this bullshit lie that there's equality. The Sith don't believe in equality. The Sith believe that equality is a lie to make the weak bound to the strong, meaning it's a lie to make the strong equal to the weak, and therefore there's no great benefit for society or growth, or benefit for yourself or growth. If you think you're equal to somebody else who's really weaker than you, is it wrong to think you're weak? I mean, is it wrong to think somebody's weak? It's not, because there's weakness in all this planet. Predators prey on weaker animals. Why? Because the weaker animal is weeded out so the herd can maintain strength. Law of nature, y'all. That's what happens. That's how it rolls. That's how it gets down. But if you're not willing to do that work, then why are you even trying to find out about Sith or vampire magic or working with the Goetia or anything else like that. You gotta really ask yourself, is this path for me? Am I really on some seriousness when I do this? Or do I still want to be catered to and, prayed to and loved to make me feel better than what I really am? Or am I really ready to deal with blood raw truth? Hit me with some questions, y'all, before we wrap this up. Hit me with some more questions. I know I went on a tangent, but sometimes you gotta just gotta let it out. Any other questions, y'all? Come on now. Somebody ask a question. Anybody has a question? Just waiting. Okay, greetings. Oh shit, Allure Kush Goddess. How are you, girl? Oh shit, she put her little scorpion on there. Y'all scorpions are dangerous, man. It's all right, you late, but you can ask what you want. Yeah, I know about scorpions though, Allure Kush Goddess. Y'all can seduce the pants off of anybody. Y'all very secretive, but you like to hear people spill the beans about their life. Y'all don't talk about yourself, but you love us to spill our beans. And if we get y'all most loving, caring people, if we get mad, that little stinger come out from back here somewhere and just go mess you up. Yep. Yep. See, she know. Notice how she uses the word allure. Allure. Yeah, see, there you go, Gypsy got it. They like a drug. Scorpions are like a drug, man. Irresistible, but dark as hell when they want to be. It's dangerous, y'all. Dangerous. I'm telling you, Lord Kush Goddess is dangerous. For all those that don't know, the word allure, the definition is the quality of being powerfully and mysteriously attractive or fascinating. The verb usage of it is powerfully attract or charm or tempt. All she could do is laugh. Damn shame, my Lord, because you got us. All you can do is laugh. Mm-mm-mm. No, it's not off topic because satanic, Sith, all that stuff is interconnected. I think it's good that he put it out. You got to remember, Michael Aquino actually was one of the main officers in the satanic church when it originally started. One of the reasons why he left the satanic church is because he felt it got too gimmicky. It got too became too funny. I put it that way. And that's why he left it. But he actually helped in creating some of the satanic Bible. He helped in creating a lot of these things. So I think it's good that he put it out, especially from his years of experience and walking in it and him creating the Temple of Set. He has more to add than, somebody who probably wasn't there from the beginning. Yes. Straight Panther, the Sith would represent Dath or Da'ath, D-A'-A-T-H. That's what it will represent. It's that gateway to the abyssic mind, that gateway to the dark underworld, gateway to the demonic self. That's what the Sith would represent. So, to answer you, yes, it's connected to that part of the Kabbalah tree. It's connected to that part of yourself, the abyssic mind, the abyssic gateway. And in there, in the abyssic mind and the part of the Ath, is where your elementals reside in your subconscious mind. Your elementals were self-created for some of your issues, dramas, or problems, and they sit there feeding off of you because many of us can't face it or overcome it. Keep putting that scorpion stuff there, little Kush. Gotta be careful with her. I'm telling y'all, she's dangerous. Anyways, so yeah. Oh, you like the shirt? Lord Kush got us. Let me see. All right, that's the shirt, y'all. See, you get a full view of the shirt. Yeah. One of my favorite shirts. I wear it once in a while. Yeah. You'd be shocked to know you can actually get this shirt at Spencer's Gifts at any of the malls. And if y'all know anything, you know that Joker is symbolic of the Baun Semdi or Baron Semdi energy. They're kind of related. That's why Joker was kind of created off of Baun Semdi. So that's why I kind of wear that. You'd be surprised, Wacky J, if you go into Spencer's Gifts right now, you'd be surprised what you find in there. They got some pretty good hidden occult stuff. You just gotta look. You'd be surprised. They got some necklaces and rings. Like I got this necklace that had the pentagram, the upside down pentagram with 2 intertwined dragons on it. Powerful stuff you can find in there. And here she comes strolling in late. I choose to be happy. It started at 7 p.m. I choose to be happy. 7 p.m. Well, go, Laura Kush Goddess, when you get a chance, go into Spencer's. You'll find some nice stuff in there. You just got to really look through there. They got some nice shirts that have some occult symbolism on it. They have some nice earrings, rings, all kinds of stuff. You just got to look. I just wear this because I like to be subtle with it. You know, people see the Joker, but if you look, you can see the symbolism. You can see the crescent. You can see the star. You can see the Ouija board, you know, subtle symbolism. Yeah, Hot Topic has some stuff too. You can't sleep on them too. They have some stuff. I like Spencer's a little more because they've been around longer, but yeah. Everybody, well, I can't tell you what to do, but it's a good idea if you have a morning ritual. Your ritual should not just be at night. You should have a morning ritual to dictate your day and an evening ritual to close your night and work on things that you feel that you needed to or thought about during the day. Okay? I think sometimes we wait too long to do a ritual. We wait to do it at night, and then thus we let the day pass without really controlling our day. And then things fall into place or fall out of place. We have no one to blame but ourselves. So it's a good thing or good idea to have some kind of morning ritual, whether it's doing an affirmation, whether it's looking at yourself in the mirror, blowing kisses at yourself, whatever the hell it is. You should have a morning ritual to affirm who the hell you are, what you want out of life, and what you're going to do to empower yourself to get it. See, I told you about them scorpions, man. You gotta watch out for them scorpions. Yeah, Laura Kushgata just said I get my black light from there. And posters and sex toys. Mm-hmm. Damn scorpions, boy. Yeah, something else. Yeah. Toys, huh? I seen the toys in that fucker too now. They got some toys, all right. Mm-hmm. Lil Kush got us into some freak shit. Anyways, yes, if you don't start your day right, I choose to be happy. You don't create something to start your day right, it's not always going to be the best because you're leaving it open for interpretation for things to happen. You're not taking control, and we have no one to blame but ourselves. So it's a good thing to start your day right because you usually will finish your day right too. Yeah, I'm sure that's why your name is Allure. I know that's you're the seducer. Gotta be careful, man. I'm gonna stop looking at that little picture of you down there. That's evil stuff, man. Evil stuff on here. Y'all some evil people. That's a good thing to do, Gypsy Goddess. Sometimes, like Gypsy Goddess said, some that can open your window. You look at the sun, meditate on the sun, the energy hitting you. You put on some jazz music, light some incense. You know what I'm saying? Take a nice bath, shower, wash your ass, wipe something. You gotta wipe something at least. If you don't shower or bathe, man, wipe something before you leave. Anyways, it's a different story. You could do that. And that starts your day right because you started the vibration frequency for the rest of your day from that moment. So you're basically bringing that into the day. You're bringing that to work for yourself, for your behalf, for the rest of the day. And it works. Yes, you could do that. Like for me, sometimes I'll say an affirmation. I'll say something like, I'm the master and ruler of my life. I determine my life. I determine my existence. I am. Don't say I will. Say it in the affirmative, because people think they're affirming something if they say I will. No, you're not. You're still leaving it for interpretation in the future. You say, I am the master, or whatever you want to say. I am the master and ruler over my life. I created my day to be beneficial for my growth, my abundance, or my wealth, or whatever you want to say. If you say I am creating or I will, no, I have created. Say it as if it's already happened. If you still say it like you're hoping it happens, wishing it happens, you ain't getting it. That means you're still leaving it for interpretation. You have to make it in the affirmative. You have to make it as if it's happened. That's right, Gypsy Goddess. Listen, that's because some people ain't in Florida, so they don't understand. Let me explain for some of y'all who ain't in Florida what Florida is like. Okay? You come out your shower, you have your AC on. Because in this time of the year, you better have your AC on. Trust. You have your AC on. You come out the shower and you feel like you still got to shower again because you're already sweating getting dressed. That's Florida for you. Then when you leave out your house, you feel like you're in a sauna because it's so humid and the sun is just beating on you the whole time. Mind you, you got to wear your body oils, your little lotions, whatever, to keep smelling nice. That sucker's that I'm telling you, man, that thing is it's intense. I've been down here 18 years now. Is it 18 years? No, 17 years. Next year will be 18 years. Okay, I've been down here 17 years now in Florida. It's no joke. I've been to Puerto Rico quite often. Florida can be hotter than Puerto Rico. Why? Especially here, though. Let me tell you why. I'm in Orlando. We're inland. A lot of people who live in Florida live on the coast. They live South Florida. They live in the Gulf Coast, Tampa area, or Southern Gulf Coast by Naples, Fort Myers. I'm inland. We don't get a breeze like that here. We get a very minimal breeze. They get more breeze in Tampa, Clearwater, St. Pete, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. It's vicious in the mid in central Florida is vicious when it comes to heat. Every day we 95, 93, 94 with the humidity we like 100 every day. It's intense, man. So yeah, here we tend to shower up a lot. Here you gotta shower up a lot, man. That's all I can say. Yeah, that's North Carolina. Here's the difference between North Carolina and Florida. When y'all start getting cooler in November and December, we're still in the 80s in November and December. We don't really cool down into the 70s until January, and that's only for 1 month. February comes, we're back up in the upper 70s and 80s right away. We only get cool for 1 month sometimes. Lately, it's been less than that the last couple years. It's 10 heat all the time. My favorite time of the year here, though, October to April. That's when it's mid 80s to lower 80s and 60s at night. I mean, that's my ish. That's lovely there. It's no hardly any humidity. It's cooler. Nice, nice. Oh shit. They over here talking about who's compatible and stuff. Unbelievable. Can't leave Nubian people alone for a second. They start talking about compatibility already. Anyways. Well, yeah, DR is rough in some areas. Rough. Wacky J, what part of Texas you at? Because I know I heard it's brutal in the summers there too. Y'all get intense heat, but the winters are cooler there than here. We still stay warm a lot of times. Cancer too sensitive for Scorpios, honey. Anyway. East Texas. All right. All right, y'all. Look at you. Gypsy Goddess. Unbelievable. Cancer and Taurus are a great match. Y'all some hilarious human beings when I just watched this. All right, 2 hours north of Houston. Okay, cool. Well, Geminis are a trip all into themselves, so we won't even go there. I'm a Gemini, so is Beniti, so go figure, y'all. Anyways, all right. I'm gonna take. Yeah, I've been in New Orleans quite often, Wacky J. So I know that's 2 hours away in Louisiana. That's the most humid place I ever been to. Damn, that's humid. It smells like all hell when it gets humid. New Orleans reminds me of New York back in the 70s and 80s when them sewers got hot. Woof, intense smell. Damn, you in Cali, Allure? Oh, shit. I've been to LA one time. That's it. All right. Because y'all want to converse amongst yourselves and flirt and all whatever's going on here. Yes, we do. Gemini are crazy, and our dual nature allows us to be flowing with people. All right, so I'm about to get off this. So I'll see y'all hopefully tomorrow at 7 p.m. We're going to be discussing the Vampire Gate, Vampire Magic, and the Black Adept. That's going to be an intense class. Also, again, for people who came in late, go on to my new website, serpentcrystals.com. It's an occult online store. We have ritual oils, essential oils, herbs for magic. We have books. We have incense for magic. We have a vampiric magic section. We have Japamala for your mantras. We have skulls. We have human bone powder. We have a little bit of everything. I ain't overdo it until I see what people are gonna like, what they're gonna get, so I can get more inventory for the favorites. What I see is more being purchased is what I'm gonna get. Again, that serpent. Let me type it in here because I will forget. serpentcrystals.com with an S, crystals with an S.com. That's what I've been working on for a few months now. That's why I didn't really promote it until now. Check it out. It has all the ritual things you need, and it's more focused for things you need for the left-hand path. Also has hoodoo, voodoo stuff. It's a lot of different things there, so check it out. Get what you need. It's more focused for people walking the left-hand path to self-mastery. Check that stuff out. Spread the word. Let other people know. A lot of things are there that you're going to need for the left-hand path that you need. We have the Black Arts oil for you if you're going to do some more intense spirit work or more intense destructive work. We have Devil's Dung herb. That's some serious stuff right there if you're going to work with that. Stinks like all hell. So if you're going to work with that, be ready. All right. We have Vampire and Magic section, the Human Bone Powder. If y'all want to work with some spirits and necromancy, the Human Bone Powder is intense, especially when you burn it. Mix it with some incense. Woo! Intense stuff, all right? Y'all something else, man. Gotta watch you, Gypsy and the Lord, boy. I gotta watch you too closely, man. Y'all some stuff. All right, so this is Brother Ravana Noon. Like I said, support the website. Come on tomorrow. Vampiric Gate, Vampiric Magic, and the Black Adept. We're going in, y'all, on the Vampiric Magic. So if you come in tomorrow, come with some questions about Vampiric Magic. I know some of y'all been studying it, checking out, but we're going in. We're going to discuss various angles of vampiric, from astral projection to sex magic to working with the death current. All that's going to be discussed and more. I'm going to put a video together for the store. That's one of the projects I'm going to work on next. The problem is this, y'all. I'm going to just say this before I close out. I have Adobe Premiere Pro. I'm still a novice in how to edit and create videos. Yeah, so that's the problem. I'm put this stuff together, but I gotta still learn how to edit, and it's just with the time I have, I don't have a lot of time to really do it all the time. So I'll get there though. I'll get there. I ain't gonna promise nothing, but I'll get there. All right, y'all. See you tomorrow at 7. Peace.